the only 24-hour local news for the Capital Region, only on Time Warner Cable. This is YNN, your midday news now.
Good afternoon and thanks for joining us here on YNN, your news now. I'm Jody Kenny.
I'm Ryan Peterson. All the headlines from across the region just moments away, but first, a quick look at your forecast.
Clouds and some sun with occasional showers this afternoon. Breezy and mild with your highs in the low 60s. Mostly cloudy with a few more showers tonight. Lows will be in the upper 40s to around 50. And variable clouds with an occasional shower tomorrow. States of emergency are lifted across the Capital Region. This story tops your news in a minute. Though some lost power, our area was spared the brunt of Hurricane Sandy. Albany and Montgomery counties each lifted their states of emergency this morning. The emergency evacuation order for Miller and Kruger roads in the town of Queens has also been lifted. Meanwhile, New York City Mayor Michael Bloomberg says Sandy is perhaps the worst the city has ever seen. Bloomberg says at least 10 people were killed. City schools, subways, tunnels, and New York Stock Exchange all remain closed. Travel continues to feel the domino effect of Sandy. About 50 departing flights were canceled at Albany International Airport today. Amtrak suspended service for a second day. 3 UAlbany students are arrested overnight during a party on Hamilton Street. And Schenectady holds a special city council meeting tonight to go over Mayor Gary McCarthy's proposed budget. While our region was spared from much of the storm, Sandy still impacted travel plans for many. The Albany International Airport remained open, but many flights were canceled yesterday. Our Beth Krogan joins us now from the airport with the very latest there. Beth.
Well, Jody, if you can see the arrival and departure boards to my left, you see lots of red. Flights going and coming are canceled. Coming from Baltimore, going to Newark, Boston. They had to cancel the first 35 flights out of the Albany International Airport this morning, but limited service is starting back up this afternoon. They're running the Southwest flight to Florida, and Delta is expected to be back to full service later today. But airport spokesman Doug Myers urges travelers to only come to the airport if their flight is scheduled. He says since New York City airports are closed, travel is going to be impacted along the East Coast.
Those are the main hubs on the East Coast, and they're very important for traffic that is hubbing, as we say, going to those hubs and then transferring passengers to other destinations. So until those airports open up, there's still going to be some problems on the East Coast.
Now, in terms of other modes of transportation, there is no Greyhound service in Albany today, and lines will not be running to New York City or Long Island tomorrow. And an Amtrak spokesperson says services on the railway are still suspended. They're expected to make decisions on whether or not to run limited service for Wednesday later today. Jody, back to you.
All right, so patience is advised. That is our Beth Krogan reporting. Thank you, Beth.
The shutdown of Amtrak in the Northeast continues today. The company canceled all services in the Northeast corridor and suspended or rerouted several other lines along the East Coast on Sunday in preparation for Sandy. Customers are advised to keep up to date on the Amtrak website for the latest schedules. Anyone with a ticket who cannot travel can get a full refund or a voucher for future travel.
New York City continues recovery and cleanup efforts following Sandy. Mayor Michael Bloomberg says at least 10 people died in the city as a result of the storm. He says the city saw devastation unlike anything before, including massive flooding and nearly 24 serious fires in Staten Island, Queens, Brooklyn, and the Bronx and City Island. Those fires destroyed at least 80 homes. Bloomberg says all the shelters that were opened for the storm will remain open until they are no longer needed. He says the effects of this storm will be felt for quite some time.
In addition to the lives we lost, the damage we suffered across the city is clearly extensive, and it will not be repaired overnight. The two biggest challenges facing our city going forward are getting our mass transit system up and running and restoring power.
Bloomberg says work to clear bridges and roadways is underway. He is urging New Yorkers to stay off of those roads so they can reopen as quickly as possible.
Conservative Party Chairman Mike Long and Representative Bob Turner's homes are both completely destroyed in the Queens fire that burned nearly 100 homes. More than 190 firefighters contained the 6-alarm blaze in the Breezy Point section, but they're still putting out some pockets of fire there. Republicans Long and Turner are practically next-door neighbors and formed a tight political bond during the congressman's victory in a special election to replace Representative Anthony Weiner. Neither man was hurt in the fire. Long was apparently not even home.
President Obama signs disaster declarations for New York and New Jersey. Obama received updates on the storm throughout the night. He then signed the declarations. He also ordered federal aid to help the state and local communities with recovery efforts. Much of the federal funding will be focused on New York City and Long Island, where large amounts of damage occurred. However, federal funding will still be available for hazard mitigation measures statewide. FEMA also said that damage surveys are continuing in other areas of the state. More counties and additional assistance might be designated once the assessments are complete. The state of emergency is lifted in Albany County. County Executive Dan McCoy says the area was prepared and extremely fortunate that Sandy's impact has been minimal. He says by revoking the state of emergency, I am able to offer assistance to those neighboring areas that were not so lucky and may need some help. I would like to thank all county employees who assisted in our preparedness efforts and who will continue to clear debris. People in Schoharie remembered the destruction that Irene left as they closely watched Sandy. State and local officials say they lowered water levels in nearby reservoirs to hold off the rainfall. They say damage left by Irene made this storm a bigger threat.
Our streams have not yet fully recovered in any way, shape, or form. They don't store water the way they should. And though we have $5.3 million set aside from New York, with another $15 million set aside from the federal government just for Schoharie County alone, those projects are under design, but they're not done yet. That means a lot of the streams are in much worse shape for handling storm events than prior to Hurricane Irene.
Schools in the area will be open as shelters if needed. The Schoharie Central Schools will be pet-friendly for anyone who chooses to stay there. The threat of Hurricane Sandy did not stop a large house party in Albany, and it did not keep city police officers from breaking it up either. Albany police say they arrested 3 UAlbany students after complaints of a loud party on Hamilton Street. The hosts were charged with unlawfully dealing with a minor. Police say Ernest Waters, Dejon Washington, and Jonathan Santana all served at least 5 minors alcohol. 20-year-old Ariel Howard of Queens was also charged with resisting arrest and false personation. Police say Howard tried to punch officers while conducting their investigation. A special city council meeting is expected to be held tonight in Schenectady. City councilors plan to vote on Mayor Gary McCarthy's proposed 2013 budget. The new plan is calling for a 4.1% tax increase, an increase that Mayor McCarthy says could have been avoided if the city was able to collect more than $12 million in owed delinquent taxes. Now, despite calling for the reduction of 22 positions, the new budget is also trying to avoid any disruption in current services provided to taxpayers. City Council is expected to meet at 6 o'clock tonight.